Alright, so first we multiply by 8, we get 8n subtract 8. Multiply by 6, we get 6n plus 12. And the next step, on each side we combine like terms, so 6n minus 1n is 5n. Still have the plus 12. Now let's bring all the n's to the left by subtracting 5. So you get 3n minus 8 equals 12. Then add 8, and you get 3n equals 20. Finally divide by 3, n equals 20 over 3. Alright, where do they break even? That's when total cost equals total revenue, or total revenue. And so you've got 3x plus 3978 equals 12x. Subtract 3x from both sides. You get 3978 equals 9x. Then divide by 9. And you get 442 equals x. Alright, rate of change, that's your slope formula. It's always the y2 minus the y1 over the x2 minus the x1. And that gives you minus 16 over minus 4, which is positive 4. Okay, use your calculator for this, so you're going to type in 3/4 raise it to the third power minus 5 times 3/4, square it, and add 6. So parentheses 3 divide 4, parentheses hat 3. Arrow to the right to get out of the exponent. Subtract 5 times parentheses 3 divide 4, parentheses hat 2. Arrow to the right to get out of the exponent, and then add 6. Rounding to 6 places, you get 3.609375. Okay, now this one asks you to find f of x plus h minus f of x over h, but first you need to find f of x plus h. Well, f of blank equals blank squared plus blank minus 9. So f of x plus h equals x plus h squared plus x plus h minus 9, which equals x plus h times itself plus x plus h minus 9. X plus h times itself is x squared, xh, xh, and h squared. And when you combine those two middle terms, you get x squared plus 2xh plus h squared plus x plus h minus 9. So now what does this fraction mean? It means this larger guy here minus the original guy there. So the larger guy here, x squared plus 2xh plus h squared plus x plus h minus 9. Subtract the original function, x squared plus x minus 9, all over h. And when you drop your brackets, nothing changes in the first, but the second one, everything flips sign. So you get x squared plus 2xh plus h squared plus x plus h minus 9 minus x squared minus x plus 9, all over h. X squareds go away, your x's go away, your 9's go away. All terms that don't have an h will basically cancel. So what do you have left? 2xh plus h squared plus h all over h, which is 2xh over h plus h squared over h plus h over h, or 2x plus h plus 1. Alright, the height above ground, you have to use your calculator for this one, so you type in 144x, subtract 16x squared, and hit graph. Now typically you won't have this graph that I have here, you would have more like a zoom 6 graph. Let's see what that looks like. You wait until this thing is done thinking. That spinning thing there tells you it's still thinking. Then hit zoom 0 is a good start. After zoom 6, zoom 0 will give you a better picture. And if you need to, you can zoom out, but you don't really need to. We're just looking for this maximum point here. So second trace maximum 4. You move to the left, we already are. Enter. Move to the right, to the other side of the maximum. Enter, and then move back to the center. You don't have to be right on top, but just somewhere close. Okay, and so you get 4.5 is the number of seconds, and then the 324 is your maximum height in feet. That's your A and your B. Alright, now here to solve this you add 5. You get minus 3x is less than 12. Divide by negative 3. X is greater than negative 4. We just divided by a negative, so you flip the inequality sign. If you want to write it as an inequality, you would say negative 4 to infinity. Alright, now this one asks you to find f composite g, so that's f of g of x. Well, g is 1 minus 6x, and f is whatever you got, subtract 1 and cube it. So we got a 1 minus 6x, okay? We're going to subtract 1 and cube it. And now 1 minus 1 is really just nothing, so you just got minus x cubed, which you can leave it that way, or you can write it as minus 216x cubed. Either way is fine. Number 9, write an equation that passes through the point, so you might want to use y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So y minus 0 equals negative 3x minus 2. So y minus 0 is just y. That's minus 3x, and that's plus 6. So there you go. You could have used y equals mx plus b and plugged in the three things you know. You know y is 0, you know m is negative 3, you know x is 2. And with that you can figure out what b is. Add 6. And you know b is 6, so now you know the slope, and you know your b. You can find your equation with a line that way. Alright, factor. X squared is typically x and x. 22 is 2 and 11, or 1 and 22. I think it's 1 and 22 because it's got to add up to 23. To make this negative, they both have to be negative, and that would make the 22 positive. Alright, number 11, write the equation for revenue. So the revenue is simply the selling price times x. Now the cost function, they give you a quantity of 60 and a price of 26.10. They give you a quantity of 200 and a price of 52.70. So your slope for your cost function is going to be 52.70 minus 26.10 over 200 minus 60. Okay, and that gives you 2660 over 140, which gives you 19. Your slope is 19. So now y minus y1, m x minus x1. You can use either point with the slope of 19. I'm going to use this one. Y minus 5270 equals 19 times x minus 200. And so that gives you y minus 5270 equals 19x minus 3800. And when you add 5270 to both sides, you get y equals 19x plus 1470, and that's your cost function. Alright, and the last one, find the market equilibrium point. So you're going to set these guys equal to each other because they both equal P. Now you have a common denominator of 6, so if you multiply each numerator by 6, you will get rid of your fractions. So 6 times a half is 6 over 2, or negative 3. 6 times 75 is 450. 450 over 2 is 225. And 6 times a third is 6/3, or 2. And 6 times 65 is 390. Divide by 3 and you get 130. Okay, so now add 3q to both sides. Bring all the q's to the right. That will make them positive. Subtract by 130. And you get 95 equals 5q. Divide by 5 and get q equals 19. Now that you know q is 19, you go back to either equation and plug in 19 for q, and that'll allow you to figure out what p is. Minus 1/2 times 19 is minus 19 halves, plus 75 halves is 56 halves, which is 28. And so your q and p are 19 and 28.